Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who's new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to today's video, which has been requested because people saw my how I wash my brushes video and my brush collection video, and I was asked to do an essentials, what does a normal person really need video about brushes. So that's what I'm going to do today, because really I have a lot of brushes. If you saw my brush collection video, not really super special brushes at all, but quite a bit. And when I read that comment, I was like, yeah, really, I'm basically using the same kind of brushes every single day, and that is maybe 20 out of the, I don't know, 80, 100, I don't know how many brushes I have. So is there really, do I really need all these brushes? No. So if I were a normal person, that just does makeup at home, and I consider myself that I want to also review brushes and see how they withhold under constant washing and things like this, you know. This is stuff that I'm interested in, and I want to try brushes from different brands and things like this. So I don't consider myself a normal person. You know what I mean? So because this is what I want to do, this is what I want to check out and tell you and whatever, things like this. So I will, of course, as the time goes on, invest in more brushes and also in different brands and things like this. But that's besides the point. What I want to point out for you today is what is it you really need, the minimum you really need. Now, of course, the needs of everybody are different. It all depends on your personal preference, of course, and also, for example, when it comes to eye brushes, it also really depends on your eye shape. If you have deep set eyes or a very small area to work with, so you might just have to go to the brushes that I show you, but a smaller version, for example. Okay, so you sort of have to adjust it a little bit. And then, of course, the other thing that one also has to consider is that I am washing my brushes every single day. So if you don't do that, but you want to use new brushes or clean brushes every single day, then you of course have to have more sets of those brushes. But I think the more responsible version would be just to wash them, because it's not a big deal. It takes 5 minutes and you're done, and you have clean brushes every single day. So the brushes, most of the brushes that I'm showing you today are not clean because I just used them for my makeup and it's still in the morning and I have not had the chance to wash them yet. So anyway, and I'm not going to show you wet brushes yet, that just doesn't make sense. So let's just go through this a little bit, and I'm just going to show you what I'm using. And yeah, it also depends a little bit on which techniques you use. For example, for the eyebrows, it depends if you are using an eyeshadow as brow powder or an official brow powder, then of course you need a brush like this, which is a tiny little packing brush. I hope you can see this. I'm trying to twist it a little bit or turn it a little bit. This is how it looks. This is what I'm using in order to apply the brow powder, and I'm just using eyeshadow, honestly, and a spoolie. I definitely brush up my eyebrows before I start working on them, so that is definitely something that really helps when you're doing your eyeshadows, your eyebrows, sorry. And also I have two angled brushes like this to do my eyebrows, one a bigger one and one is a smaller one, of course still dirty from today's eyebrow job. So because that really helps for me to do the under, how do you say that, the lower edge of the eyebrows, you know, to get a good line down, and then I do the upper line, and then I basically just fill out the eyebrows with a packing brush. So that is what I use for my eyebrows, and that is basically all there is to that in that category. Then let's move on maybe to the eyes. So first of all, because I consider that already eye space is when I'm carving out my eyebrows. So for that I'm using, let me just see if I can find it, because I prepared them and now they're gone. So basically it's a brush like this, which is also a angled brush, but the one that I wanted to show you is a little bit larger. I don't know where it just went. It's gone. All right, so anyway, it's a brush like this, And this is what I'm using with concealer or with whatever you're using, your eye base or whatever, to just carve out your eyebrows underneath your eyebrows, you know, to have like a really, really nice defined line. And then I just sort of smudge it down with a brush like this, which is already a packing brush that I'm going to also use later on to apply, for example, shimmer shadows or metallics or something like this. So that is something that I definitely need. I always smudge out the concealer because I carve my eyebrows out with the concealer, and then for the rest of the lid I use that same brush. I just swipe it off, and then I'm applying my eyeshadow base with that same brush all over, and then I'm just swiping it off again, and I leave it here lying at the side because I'm going to use that same brush then to apply at least one shadow of my shimmer shadows on my lid, depending on how many I'm going to use. But you know, this is definitely a brush that is going to be used a lot in one look. Yeah, so that is a packing brush, and I also, they're pretty stiff and pretty dense, which means that you can get a lot of pigmentation with those brushes when you're for example packing on a matte eyeshadow in the corner here, you know, because if you would go in with a fluffy brush like this, you would get some pigment on, but you can use this one for blending it out, but for packing it on I would definitely use a denser brush. Absolutely. So that is that. Then in case, let me just put this to the side so I don't get confused what I already showed you. All right, so for carving out and a cut crease, I would definitely recommend you have a brush like this, and not like a very small one because they come in all kinds of sizes, but a bigger one, because bigger ones really work so much easier. Just trust me on this one, if you're into doing cut creases or half cut creases, to have a brush like this, which is like very, very stiff and flat, like this. That really, really helps. They are super, super useful for something like that. Then they also come in different shapes. There is like an angled version, which is okay, but I think the rounded ones work much, much better. So that is that. Then for the eyeshadows, I of course have a lot of space to work with, so I can use large brushes. So this is a very large, fluffy brush that I'm using to put down basically everything that is in the crease and up. So if you have a smaller lid space, then of course you have to go to a smaller version, or even smaller than that. I don't really have smaller ones than that because I don't need, like, I have a lot of space, so I personally don't have that. But for example, the big one I'm using to put down the first shades, the transition shades and all of that, and then if I'm building it up with a darker shade on top of that, then I'm using a little bit of a smaller one, because of course I don't want the darker shade to cover everything that I have already put down with a larger brush. Just makes sense, right? So that is what I'm doing. So that is what I definitely would recommend, to have at least two of those, you know, a larger one and a smaller one. I feel like for sometimes for me personally, when I'm doing very intricate looks, that I need, of both of those, I need several. So I have here in my collection, I have two of the big ones, and I have probably like 5 or 6 of those smaller ones. And these ones I really use a lot. Sometimes I have like 3 in one look or something like this, because I also just use one brush per color. So if you don't have those restrictions on yourself like I do, then of course you just need one. If it is enough for you to just swipe it off on a towel or something and clean them in between and then use the same brush, then of course you need much less. But as a principle, I just use one brush per color. So that's why I have several of those, you know, per look. Anyway, so that is that, a bigger one and smaller ones. Then I would also recommend brushes like this. They are something like packing brushes, but a little bit more fluffy, and I just really love those to blend out when you're doing a smoky eye that is just smoked out like this. I really love to blend out those shades here. These are really nice for that, for my liking. And again, this is very personal, but you don't have to have those, you can do it just as well with these that I just showed you. But these I also really like, because also with those you can add a little bit more pigment easier than with the other ones, with the blending brushes that I just showed you. I really like those also. So yeah, then I have all kinds of intricate brushes from Sigma that I don't even think one really needs, you know. Like, as a normal person, you can get away with much less, and I don't even think, like, I rarely use them, which is a shame, because I'm basically using my drugstore brushes. These here are from my local drugstore. They retail probably for like $3 or something. I've had them for probably ever since I started YouTube, which is almost 2 years. I'm washing them every single day. They still look like new, just that the whole writing and everything is rubbed off, but they work really well for me, and you know, I have no complaints. Then I would also absolutely recommend some kind of pencil brush. So there are different kinds. There are pencil brushes that are like really pointed and stiff, like this one right here. I don't know if you can see it. And this one has more or less the same shape, but it is a little bit more fluffy. There's a hair on it, sorry. So this one is a little bit more fluffy, and I think that the fluffy one is even a little bit more versatile than the stiff one, because for example with this one I love to do my inner corner, I love to do my lower lash line, you know, under my waterline. That really is nice to put color down, and then I just take a clean brush like this, that is like a medium blending brush, and I blend it out. But the more pointed ones are really more for like more intricate work, or if you want to draw a smaller line or something, which I almost never do, because I really usually draw my eyeshadow down quite a bit, you know. I like that, so whatever. So this one that is a little bit more fluffy but still small gives me a little bit more. I personally really like that, but I'm really happy that I have both of them in my collection, because it really helps. Then of course you need a eyeliner brush. If you're doing your eyeliner, of course, if you're using gel eyeliner, then you need an eyeliner brush. Mine is actually from an arts and crafts store, because I have not come across the perfect eyeliner brush that is actually a makeup brush. But you don't have to, like, you don't have to buy a makeup brush that costs 4 times as much as one from an arts and crafts store, when this one works perfectly, you know. So this one is super fine. There is still of course the black eyeliner, gel eyeliner on it from this morning. And this is I think this retailed probably for something like, let me just make a calculation, maybe something like $6, and this is perfect, and it also holds out. You know, I have another one that is clean. Let me just show you how it looks when it's clean. So this is a little bit bigger one, but it's the same, you know. So I really like them, and they're very good, and I have no complaints. They're also holding up very well while washing. So I would really recommend, if you are into gel eyeliner, and I'm not sure if a lot of people are, because you know there are so many other options to do the eyeliner, but I love gel eyeliner. For me, that is the to-go-to thing. So of course I need a good brush, and for me this is the kind of brush that I need. A very fine, small tiny brush, and then I just go in and build up as much as I want, because sometimes I want it a little bit thinner, sometimes I want it a little bit, you know, larger and more dramatic. So this gives me the option to do whatever I want with just one brush. So now we're moving on already to the face brushes, which is, you know, that's all, we're almost done here. Okay, so of course we need a foundation brush if you want to put on your foundation with a foundation brush. I used to do it always, and I always preferred the ones with a flat top, the kabuki brushes. I really used to like that, and now for maybe the last 2 months or something, I have actually sort of gone to just applying my foundation with sponges, and have really gone away from using brushes, because just for one reason, not because I don't like the brushes anymore, but because I feel like I'm using way less product when I'm that goes so much into a brush, you know. This is a big waste. If you're cleaning them every day, there is basically a lot of stuff that goes into the brush till you're even getting something on your skin. So I always thought that is a big waste. So I feel like when I'm going on my skin with a damp sponge, it soaks up much less of the product, and I'm losing at the end. I'm using at the end of the day way less of my foundation, and because I'm using so much foundation, that actually really makes sense for me. But that is again totally preference, whatever you want. So of course you need a foundation brush if that is how you apply your foundation, or if you apply foundation at all. Maybe you don't. So then for bronzer you need a brush. So I have one like this that is, you know, just like a I don't know, you could even say that this is a small not foundation, a small powder brush. I use that for my bronzer. I just really like that. Then I have one angled brush like this that I'm using for my contouring. This one I don't do nose contour, so I don't have brushes for that. And then I have a blush brush, just one, and a powder brush for my whole face to put setting powder on. And then I have 3 different highlighter brushes, because sometimes it depends on the formula, and it depends a little bit also on my overall look and whatever, what I'm going for and how dramatic I want it to be. So I have 3 different highlighter brushes. So there are these 2 that are basically more or less the same shape, but one is bigger and one is a bit smaller. And this is a more more fluffy. These are more stiff a little bit, and this is a little bit more fluffy, and this has a little bit more of a softer application, and also the overall look comes out softer. Here, these, when I go on like this, they pack on a punch. I think that's how one says it. So, and that is really all I'm using. Now I have probably something like 3 million brushes left here that are always standing here just in case, and I'm not even using them. I should really remove them from my table because it's irritating. Yeah, if I would have less here on my table, I think I would spend less time looking for stuff, you know? For like special looks, when I'm doing super winged out cut creases or something like this, then of course I have to pull in some special brushes or something. But like for my normal looks like this, you know, for like 95% of my looks, these are all the brushes I need. I don't need anything else. So yeah, there you go. I hope that helped for you who requested that video, because, you know, I really want to, you know, be here to help you. I'm just going to show you the amount of brushes that I actually spoke about, and that is it. That's all you need for a whole look, you know. And that, you know, it's actually mind-blowing when I think that I probably have, I don't know, 10 times as much standing right here, which is like, why, you know? Still, I just want to say again that I'm totally into brushes, and I also, in my position here as what I'm doing here, I want to also be able to tell you what is a good brush and what is not a good brush, or what works well during washing, what doesn't hold up well. For example, my what are these Sephora brushes are awful, and I'm so sorry because my best friend gave them to me. She bought them and she gave them to me, and they worked well the first time, and the first time I washed them, which was after the first time using them, they looked like this. Like a broom, like a very ugly broom. And I just have them here because I cannot make myself throwing them out, because my best friend gave them to me, you know. I just feel so bad because she spent that money, and they're garbage. They're seriously garbage, and it's a shame. So I want to be able to tell you that was not good. I'm sure they have other brushes too who are good. Maybe that was just, I don't know, like a line that was not good. But anyway, I want to be able to tell you that, you know. And I'm still very young on YouTube and in the beauty community, and I don't really have a lot of internationally available things. A lot of stuff here is from local stores, and I don't know if that helps a lot of people if I'm telling you what I have. Like, most of my brushes are from Sigma. It's not most of my brushes. Some of my brushes are from Sigma. Most of my brushes are from Kiko Milano, which I've already mentioned a couple of times. Kiko Milano has a cheaper line and a more expensive expensive line. It's not really that expensive. It's mid-range, but it's the upper line that they have. And these are good brushes. The cheaper line I would not waste my money on. The other ones are very, very good. I'm very happy with them. I have a few brushes from Essence. I have a few brushes from, this is I think It Cosmetics, that I also got from my best friend. These are actually really, really good. Then I have some drugstore brushes from like Israeli drugstore. These are Caroline brushes. I've mentioned those already. No, this one not. These are those medium blending brushes. And what else do I have? I think more or less that is it. I also have a few Sakara brushes, which is also a sort of cheaper kind of Israeli makeup store. But besides that, that is basically it. Some brushes from Beauty Care, which is also an Israeli brand, but I would really, really love to try more brushes from like international brands to actually be able to tell you these are good brushes, you know, they are Leorah approved. Like Refer brushes, everybody is raving about those Refer brushes. I would love to try them so bad, super intrigued. Yeah, but maybe one day. I really, really hope so. And yeah, so all kinds of brushes. I'm very, very interested in that. Those are my babies, and it just comes with the territory, you know, because I'm super interested in everything makeup, so I'm very, very passionate about brushes too. But it was actually really, really helpful for me as well to just figure out what is it, what does it boil down to, what is it that I really need. It's just Leorah, is for making a look like this, it's really not that much, really not, and that is a good thing, you know. So I hope we all learned something here today. Anyway, so I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, then please give the video a like, and if you're new here, then of course please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here, and of course you will find everything that is on my face today, my social media, and some other things in the description box down below. Leave me your comments in the comment section, and also video ideas that, you know, stuff that you want me to talk about or want me to show you or things like this. I'm definitely up for that, and I'll see you here next time for my next video, which is gonna be super soon. And up until then, go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.